The following is a production of DallasCowboys.com and the Dallas Cowboys Football Club.
How about them Cowboys?
Yeah!
Go Cowboys!
This is Talkin Cowboys. Streaming live from the Dallas Cowboys World Headquarters at the Star in Frisco.
C.D. Lamb, touchdown.
Parsons has sacked it. Prescott keeps it, and he bangs it in for the touchdown.
And now your hosts, Isaiah Stanback, Patrik Walker, Josh Rodriguez, and Kyle Youmans.
It's a Tuesday edition of Talkin Cowboys presented by Black Rifle Coffee Company, live from the Star in Frisco, Texas, in the SWBC studios. Welcome in, everybody, as we've got our full cast and crew ready for you to rock today. We've got Patrik Walker, Josh Rodriguez. Hi. Isaiah Stanback, Chris Beam in the back. I'm Kyle Youmans. Glad you're with us. We are all back in the building.
That's right.
Took a little bit of time.
We up.
Made a couple trips, kind of went back and forth, but we are so bad.
I want you to let everybody know we're back up.
We are so back.
Now, did you have a first-class seat, Kyle?
Funny story. Funny story. Not like the Isaiah tandem whenever he decided to leave us and coach. I told my friends that I was going to upgrade to first class, and I did. And I upgraded to first class on the way back. You know what happened, though?
What was that?
The Cowboys hired a head coach, and we had to change our flight to get there.
So you
Didn't change the one on the way back, but I lost the seat upgrade, and they threw me in the middle seat. In aisle
not the
24.
middle, bro.
Oh, yeah, it sucked. Oh, it was awful. It was such a pain.
You talk about a fall from grace.
Yeah, I was literally 1A. I've never flown first class in my life. The closest thing to first class is when we're on the charter, and that is definitely not first class.
Wow.
But I've never done it in my life. I was so excited. I was like, let me just splurge a little bit.
You have to put your bag up top, though.
Traveling a lot, yeah.
You can't have the laptop out until, you take off. It's a whole nother thing.
Yeah.
American, do the right thing.
It was unfortunate.
Spike Lee. All right, Double A, do the right thing. Put my guy. Put him in first class. Get him out the middle. His shoulders are too broad for the middle.
Too broad.
Too brolic.
Kind of like Eddie George in the booth at the Shrine Bowl.
Listen here. That is a large human being. So the thing is, like, there's some people that you, growing up playing football, right? You have a high regard for. You respect their game.
Of course.
Right? Like, they've done some amazing things. They seem like good people. He played with, Steve McNair, some legends, things like that. He did some amazing things as a player. I'm talking about Eddie George, that is.
Yeah.
But when you see some people in person, you have to try to comprehend the challenges that were being handed down to defenders that were responsible for bringing this man down. Now, you hear about big running backs, and I'm like, okay, I'm not a small guy, so I hear about big running backs. I'm like, okay, yeah, they're a little bit smaller than me, probably, whatever. Like, that's challenging.
Sure.
Eddie George made me want to go to the weight room that evening. He came in. He came in the booth when I was calling the East-West Shrine game with the rest of the NFL Network crew, and they wanted us all to get into this tight shot because the camera that we had up there for that particular shot wasn't necessarily a wide angle, right? So it was like, okay, you guys got to scooch together, right? Not scooch together.
Yeah. Just a scooch.
Like, do you guys see his shoulders? Like, I can't get any close.
Yeah.
We can't be shoulder to shoulder. I'm going to have to be behind him.
You show that picture to those that are watching online?
Absolutely. For those that are watching online, this
live
picture,
on YouTube and live on the Draft Show Twitter. So be sure to subscribe, by the way.
As of yesterday, I am 6'3", 249 pounds.
As of yesterday?
As of yesterday, because we started you versus you.
Okay.
So 249 pounds. 6'3".
Eddie's owning that.
This is Eddie George standing right next to me. Yes, the bald-headed guy.
Not only did he play for the Titans, he looks like one.
With his arms crossed.
Bar.
What is this?
He looks like he just won the Royal Rumble.
This is that is bro, come on, look at his shoulders and look at my shoulders,
that's
bro.
Not Eddie George. That's Bobby Lashley.
Bro, that's exactly what it is. That's exactly what. Look,
Bobby Lashley.
Look at this. Look how I'm looking at him. Like, bro, what are you? You're a Decepticon.
Yeah.
That's a big dude.
It made me want to go do all the push-ups and all the shoulder shrugs that I could possibly do because I felt so small. Like, there's certain people you meet, you just like, all right, you stand next to Shaq, you're like, okay, like, that's just genetics, like whatever. I can never be that tall.
I felt the exact same way when I stood next to Mickey Spagnuolo for the first time in his bike shorts. I was like, man.
In his bike shorts.
Well, like when we're talking about just a pure athlete.
I wish I had never heard those words.
Among the best.
With the butt pad?
I can't.
Dude is a specimen when it comes to
I will say
the black shorts with the red butt pad.
Yeah.
If I'm in his shape when I'm Mickey's age,
I'm not joking around.
I'm all for
Mickey's
it,
a beast. Mickey's a beast.
I saw the dude bike 20 miles.
Yeah, training camp.
And I'm like barely getting up to go get breakfast, dude. Yeah. I'm just like, what's up, Mickey? And he's like, Josh did 20 miles. I'm like, golly, dude.
Mickey's a beast.
He is.
But I felt the same way.
Yeah, but yeah. So yeah,
just in awe of a human being.
Like, say, I stood next to Andrew Whitworth. Yeah, like, I'm supposed to be smaller than him, right? Like he's offensive lineman. Okay,
this is a tailback.
This is a running back.
Yeah.
Like, let me put this in perspective.
Derrick
Let me put this in perspective. Yes, but Derrick Henry and I are the exact same size. We're both 6'3".
That does put it in perspective.
Yes,
because that means next to Derrick, Eddie.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And this is like the 45-year-old version of him.
Yeah.
Crazy.
He flexing on you.
And it's crazy that we were able to see in our lifetimes battles like Ray Lewis versus Eddie
George. Yeah.
Yearly. I mean,
physical. And we talked about how physical the game was back then. Obviously, there's still football, but it's not as physical as it once was. And those guys were freaking
those
gladiators.
early 2000s clashes.
Clashes, bro.
Gladiators.
Clash of the Titans.
Hey.
Good movie.
Very good. But yeah, I want to hear more about the Shrine Bowl, and I want to hear more about some of the draft prospects because I know, Pat, you were in the building as well.
In the building.
Of course, I was out in Mobile for the Senior Bowl. We're going to talk a little bit.
We had it all covered.
Absolutely.
We had it all.
All of it, baby. We're going to talk a little bit more draft when we get to the third segment today. We're going to take your calls in the second segment, 888-855-2297. We haven't talked to Cowboys Nation in a hot minute, so give us a call, 888-855-2297. But before we get into the phone lines, and I want to hear about a little bit of everything, the Schottenheimer hire.
Who's that?
He's your new head coach. The OC, the DC, the players, the coaches, whatever it ends up being across the way. Could even be Myles Garrett, Cooper Kupp, whatever ends up being, as they have both seemingly been on their way out. Cleveland Browns.
Still under contract, though.
Miles requested a trade from Cleveland, and then apparently Cooper Kupp releasing that L.A. is going to trade Cooper Kupp. So you could ask about those questions, too. We can't say everything because we are in the building.
At least there's some communication.
There is absolutely
unlike the Mavs and Luka, but, okay.
I don't want to talk about it.
Okay.
Don't want to talk
At least those teams.
That was a good move.
Stupid.
That was a good move.
Stop it. Don't even get close to that. Stop it.
Keep going.
I want to update the fans who haven't been keeping
there's a lot.
tabs.
Yeah.
Let's run down the list. What does the staff look like right now?
As we have this conversation, and I'll let you know who's confirmed, who's not confirmed. So we know Brian Schottenheimer is the new head coach. Offensive coordinator is going to be Clayton Adams from the Cardinals. Matt Eberflus reuniting with the Cowboys, this time as the defensive coordinator, former Cowboys linebackers coach and defensive passing game coordinator. Special teams coordinator replacing Bones Fossil, who went to the Tennessee Titans, is Nick Sorensen, who is bringing that Kyle Shanahan tea into the building. I can't get enough of that. Yes, sir. Titans, we were able to retain Lunda Wells. Massive re-signing.
1 for 3.
Massive re-signing, especially.
Oh, and since the last time we were on the air, they've also re-signed Will McClay. Well done, everybody.
The biggest free agent on the Cowboys.
We did it.
Docket.
Secured the
Will McClay.
bag.
We did it, everybody.
Absolutely. Yeah. So Will McClay is still in the building. Lunda Wells still in the building. Those two names are massive, especially considering you lost Al Harris to the Chicago Bears.
How do we anti-clap? Do we boo? Just throw a couple
just throw
things.
Back of the hands.
That's a pain.
Yeah.
Him and Fossil for me, those are.
But congrats to him on the upgrade.
Yeah.
Sure.
For sure.
Yeah. Al Harris goes up there. He's defensive passing game coordinator. And you see, and I spoke with Al, and it is obviously not just a move up in title, but he'll have a little bit more responsibility than even what the title dictates. But keep in mind, he wasn't able to technically coordinate anything here in Dallas. So now he gets to do that there, which gives him the step toward becoming a defensive coordinator, which then gives him the step to becoming a head coach. So shouts out to Al Harris. Go up there and kick some buns. Assistant wide receivers coach. We're still looking for the primary wide receivers coach. Lost Robert Prince to the Miami Dolphins. No names have been floated yet, but every day that passes along, new positional coaches come into the fold. Hell, just yesterday we had some more. But we do have a reported interview. Tyquan Underwood, formerly of the New England Patriots, as the assistant wide receivers coach. We'll see if that lands, but the expectation is that it will. Keep an eye on that.
Best hair on coaching staff.
Yeah.
He would, right?
Oh, yeah.
He would easily win the best hair.
He was flat top.
That's right. Yeah.
Full Beavis and Butthead.
So how can you hire an assistant
Before having
the actual receiver?
Unless you know who's going to be, and we just don't know yet.
Oui.
So there you go. As we talked about on this show before, when people were arguing front runners, how do you know who's the front runner
because
when you
the
don't know?
Receiver coach would be the one who would most likely decide who's working alongside him, right?
Sometimes.
I would imagine.
Yeah.
If I'm going to be working hand in
know
hand
if
with this guy.
Unless you're, I don't know, offensive coordinator has a really good grasp on what he wants to do.
Fair.
I'm not here to judge.
That would be kind of a weird hire to say, like, you're an assistant, but we know you're not ready to be an actual wide receivers coach. Sure. So here's the assistant.
I would think that their main receiver coach would have a say in who's going to be his assistant.
Again,
Probably.
It's possible.
We got Will McClay, man. What are you worried about? What are you worried about?
You got what you wanted.
It's possible they already know. All right, so we're waiting for wide receivers coach to land, running backs coach to land. No, we got running backs coach. So running backs coach landed yesterday, as a matter of fact. Derek Foster. Right, Derek Foster, formerly of the New Orleans Saints, also his tenure extended back to the Los Angeles Chargers with the peak Austin Eckler days. So you basically see what he's going to bring to the table. He likes running backs who can also do damage as receivers out of the backfield. Alvin Kamara, Austin Eckler.
Do we have one of those?
Right now?
Yeah,
he's on the roster.
I know where your face is going. Hi, Deuce. So we'll see.
There's that guy that's on the roster. Yeah, another guy that wore a deuce in college.
Yeah, so my old teammate wasn't willing to take a pay cut. Yeah. I'm not mad at him.
Not only was he not willing to take a pay cut, they threw him a bag.
Well, he's making a bag.
Well, he was making a bag. You talking about Tashard?
Yes.
So he was making a bag, and reports are that they gave
upped
him
the bag.
an $800,000 raise
a year. $800K.
So not only
to be a
did he
position
not
coach
take
in
a
college,
pay cut, they more than doubled his salary. Yeah. To stay.
They just threw money at the problem.
Samples in Oregon also got it raised to $700K.
Yeah. So
I'm sorry. What was that?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Position coach, college. Yes.
He's making a M.
Yeah, 1.5. Yeah, 1.5.
Well, no. I think it's to 800.
To 800.
I think his salary is
who?
800.
Church?
Choice.
No.
Choice.
That's not true.
What?
What's not true? What's the number?
It's over 9.
It's over 9. So he still got the pay raise.
He did get paid.
No, so that's my point. Not only did he not take a pay cut, but he got thrown a bigger bag to stay in Austin.
So he got an $800,000 raise.
No,
yes.
No. He was already making.
He's already making 7.
Oh, jeez.
He's making more.
That's unbelievable.
He's making
boys, I'm telling you guys right now, I am changing
and he has a
my profession.
buyout. So
yeah,
I'm changing my profession.
He's just leaving Talkin Cowboys right now.
I'm surprised you haven't done it yet. So
think about this. He doesn't have to recruit anymore.
Oh, and he doesn't have to.
I'm just saying in general. No, in general, at Texas, you don't have to recruit. It's like, how much? Okay, yeah, we'll give you this. You want to come here?
Oh, you're talking NIL angle.
I mean, NIL stuff, now it's just like.
Spoken like a true Baylor fan.
Well, so
Sounds
it was
like a little salty back there, Beamer.
Yeah, so Derek Foster is.
Where's Baylor's NIL budget right
Derek
now?
Foster is not exactly. Derek Foster is not exactly consolation prize. So good stuff there. Waiting for quarterbacks coach to land, that's vacant. Now flipping to the defensive side of the ball, that started to come together a lot more quickly because Eberflus got into the building before Clayton Adams got into the building. So defensive line, Aaron White Cotton from the Jets, love it. The Jets tried everything to try to keep him in New York. Go and look at New York Jets Nation, and you'll see that they were really pissed that they lost White Cotton. So you should be really thrilled that you have White Cotton.
Absolutely.
White Cotton on Black History Month. Dave Borgonzi. Dave Borgonzi is back in the building. A lot of Cowboys fans don't know that Borgonzi actually had a short stay with the Cowboys as an assistant.
Very short.
Yeah,
right?
he did
like a year or two.
Yeah, about a season. He did double duty. He was assistant for both the offense and the defense. So that kind of helped launch his coaching career. So he's back. He spent time with Eberflus in Chicago as well, as did defensive pass game coordinator Andre Curtis. He'll be in the building, more or less working with David Overstreet, who is the cornerbacks coach. But look at Curtis and Overstreet as kind of like a twofer to fill with Al Harris, which you lose with Al Harris, right?
Right.
Al Harris was defensive backs coach, but also assistant head coach, so you're getting double duties there. But, you still have other vacancies, assistant offensive line, primary offensive line. We know that Clayton Adams is going to have a heavy hand in the offensive line coaching, but it sounds like as we have this conversation, the Cowboys still want technically an offensive line coach, someone designated as that as well. Waiting for that to land, waiting for assistant defensive line to land.
And you hear not a lot of names floating around for that position in particular. Yeah. I don't think that there's anything that's been
that's nailed down. But again, if you're following how the Cowboys hiring has been going since Schottenheimer was named, I mean, every other day, sometimes multiple days in a row, a new hiring is landing. 2-3 new interviews.
They're trying to knock it all out.
They're really trying to knock it out. So still some vacancies. We know the strength and conditioning team is going to stay in the building. Shouts out to Harold Nash, Kendall Smith, Cedric Smith, very well deserved.
Britt Brown's staff as well.
That one's confirmed strength and conditioning?
Absolutely. Okay. Absolutely. Okay. So vacancies are being filled quickly. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Got about 6 or 7, maybe 8. Not counting the quality control guys. But I suspect, what are we talking, Tuesday? I suspect Talkin Tuesday.
Quality control.
Yeah. I suspect by Monday, I'm going to
put in your resume real quick.
Might.
I'm going to put Isaiah. I predict by the end of this week, most of the staff will be finalized.
Okay.
I'm pulling in Isaiah.
How do we feel about it right now? Let's just start from a general standpoint.
Yes.
Defensive side of the ball. Matt Eberflus is your head coach, your defensive coordinator. Of course, he was the head coach in Chicago prior, but was also the linebackers coach in Dallas from 2011 to 2017. He's been around the building, returns to the building at a higher clip than what he had initially when he was here in Dallas. I thought, at least out of the two guys that I really wanted, Robert Saleh or Matt Eberflus, this is a win for Dallas on the defensive side of the ball. It's going to be hard to keep them, at least the expectations straight, because of what you've had from Dan Quinn, what you had last year as a turnaround from Mike Zimmer from the beginning of the year to the end of the year. I'm interested to see what the expectations are, but Josh, what do you think about
that's going to be tough on the players regardless, because you have the third year in a row of defensive coordinator changes. Yeah, I think that's tough just to begin with.
That happened from 2019, 2020, and 2021. And I mean,
yeah, exactly.
It happens.
It happens. But my thing here is it was Tommy that kind of like quelled my concerns at that point.
Quelled, good word.
Exactly. Well, he was talking about, he's not a great head coach candidate. He really wasn't. And especially at the Bears, you saw that time management was an issue. And basically everything outside of the defense was an issue for Matt Eberflus. When I saw that name flying around just before it was reported, I was like, all right, that sounds like a good thing. My thing is like, are the players going to be able to connect and relate and buy into yet another defensive scheme? To me, outside looking in, it seems like the right choice to make, because you probably don't bring Mike Zimmer back because he wants to retire. So reportedly, supposedly. So either way, you're going to have a tough decision to make. I think at least with this, one, you have a defensive coordinator that is coaching well on defense in today's football league. That to me is most telling about this hire. Is it my favorite hire of the bunch? I don't know.
What is your favorite hire?
Who would have been your favorite hire? You can't say that without giving. Yeah,
I know. I don't want to.
It's a Jerry Madelon special. Yeah. Ask the follow up. You let it out there.
I know. Defensive line coach Aaron Whitecotton
would have been for DC.
No. I mean, sorry, I didn't mean candidate for DC. I mean of the hires
so far.
Yeah. So far.
Okay, fair enough.
Running backs coach would be up there actually.
Derek Foster.
Yeah.
You like Foster?
I like Foster.
Okay, we'll get more into that in a minute. What do you think about the Flus hire, Isaiah?
It makes sense.
You weren't super high on Zimmer last year.
I was
when that happened.
I was not.
I'm getting a similar feel here.
Eberflus has had success with defenses, so obviously I had my comments in regards to, I think last time we were on about him as a head coach.
Younger mind.
I didn't feel that he had the presence of a head coach, but in terms of a coordinator, that's something completely different.
Yeah.
I have concerns about, I guess just my, not only concerns, but my questions revolving around the staff are just, what is going to be the culture? What's going to be the energy? Those things matter to me when it comes to building a team, and I don't know. I mean, there's so much. I don't have a lot to say. I hate to say that because I just don't know. I really don't. I don't know how many people really feel like they do know right now what it's going to be. I think it's kind of a wait and see type of deal. I think to see how Schottenheimer is going to, what he's going to try to instill, what is going to be the reflection of the team, when they take the practice field, when they take the actual games, like what energy are you expecting from this team? Is it what do you fear about this team? Is it their preparation? Is it their relentlessness? Is it their their big playability? Like, what is the identity of this team? And we just don't know. We do know that he's capable of calling plays on offense. We do know that Eberflus is capable of putting together solid defenses. So, I mean, I think that the biggest hire, I haven't learned on the names yet, so I apologize, but the offensive line coach, I think that's major.
No, that was huge.
To me, though, difference between Mike Zimmer last year and the hire last year, Mike Zimmer was taking over a defense that was already solidified.
Yes.
I think at this point this year, you have some room to grow and to kind of change your personnel on defense. I mean, you're going to have to anyways because you're going to lose some guys.
Yeah,
there's
free
no doubt,
agents.
There's no doubt about that. So at least Eberflus has a better shot at it because he can actually create the defense that he wants to versus having to just basically use somebody else's defense, which is what Mike Zimmer was tasked with.
And remember, Zimmer said that at the end. He said, one of my biggest regrets was not having my stamp on it early and trying to mold myself to what was happening. He said, if I would have started doing what I wanted to do earlier, then it might have been a different outcome. Who knows? It may not have been. It may have been a similar outcome and whatever.
I mean, the proof is in the pudding. That the defense at the end of the year was much better than they were at the beginning.
They 100%.
I love the return of Eberflus. He was second on my list. I wanted Robert Saleh as defensive coordinator. Yeah. That was a long shot, but it was a shot.
Yep.
And credit to them. They took their shot. They brought him in. They had to sit down with him, gave him an interview.
It was our first interview.
Right. And yes, that was for a head coach position, but I'm told that they also discussed DC as well. Yeah. So they shot their shot. 49ers came in with the familiarity.
And
I was like, and the bag. I was like, hey, not only do you
highest paid non-head coach in the NFL.
Yeah, so he did what he needed to do. I'm not mad at that. So circling back and getting Eberflus, for me, it gives you a fantastic balance of two things. One, you have just enough familiarity, right? So just enough because quite as it's kept, like Malik Hooker, for example. Malik Hooker played under Eberflus with the Indianapolis Colts, and he played well under Eberflus. So he's going to be able to help some of these guys who haven't played under Eberflus kind of acclimate to that. If the Cowboys can keep Jordan Lewis, for example, I reached out to Jordan because Jordan played under Eberflus as the pass game coordinator. Learned some things as linebackers coach, but mostly pass game coordinator. So this is what Jordan Lewis told me, and check out the article on the .com as well. I asked him to describe Eberflus's vision, culture as a potential defensive coordinator. He said, and I'll quote, vision defense that's going to run to the ball and tackle hard. And I asked him, I said, he said, and the front four are going to attack. Then I asked him, straight up, how would you feel about playing under Eberflus again? And he said, I love it. So as far as free agency goes, this might be one.
Jordan Lewis back confirmed.
Yeah, hey, this is done. But this is why it's key to get the right guy in here.
Front four attack, huh?
Front four attack in a vision defense. See ball, get ball.
That number is kind of interesting.
See ball, get ball.
Not a three. Not front three. You're gonna.
No, front four.
Front four. That's
four.
So you need your guys to be dominant.
Yeah, that's
what you need is a dominant three tech. Is what you need.
You need another dominant end.
And, all right. And a one tech. There's a lot of things.
We got commercials and stuff
that you got to get to. In 7 years as a defensive play caller, Eberflus's defense ranked in the top half of the league 5 times, and we're in the top 10 in takeaways 6 of those 7 seasons. Remember what was the predication of Dan Quinn's defense? Takeaways.
Yeah, no, for sure.
What's also beautiful about Eberflus coming back is he's not simply coming back as someone who only coordinated a defense or pass defense or only coordinated an entire defense. His specialty is what? Linebackers. Specialty is linebackers. So you're getting this guy.
We've got a bunch of those on the roster, right?
No, you don't. So, but you're getting this guy to get his hands on Maris Leofau, who showed that his trajectory is due north.
Solid.
Who, when Overshown comes back, showed he has all pro potential when he can be on the field. If you can get Eric Kendricks to return to kind of stabilize that, attack it again in the draft.
Just some consistency, too.
Yeah. But just knowing that Jordan Lewis is saying, okay, this is a front four going to attack. And then you have a guy who specializes in linebackers. So that front 7 should be quite nasty. Yeah. And being that he also coordinated the pass defense, he has the ability to get the secondary in the right positions. And now his secondary is led by a former first-round pick who played for him and is still playing mostly at a high level in Malik Hooker. But I love it. I absolutely love it.
I don't want to take away from any of the callers. Remember, give us a call, 888-855-2297. We're about to go to our first break, but I want you to give me your answer. Who was the favorite hire so far out of the coaching staff?
Oh, favorite hire. I'm going to go with Flus. I'll go with Flus.
That's a good one. I'm going Clayton Adams.
And that's a good one.
Yeah.
Damn good.
I'm really excited about Clayton Adams. And
Yeah.
there's a big reason for that. Scheme-wise, he was probably, out of all the position coaches that were
O-line, right?
thought to be, he was an offensive line coach in Arizona.
Yeah, I liked him.
Out of all the position coaches that were thought to be coordinator candidates in the NFL, Adams was right at the top.
I like his energy.
So they went and got a guy. I'm excited about it.
And did you see how angry Arizona was? And
they were mad.
the entire fan base was like, "What the heck?"
Yeah.
Shouldn't have let him.
That's an indication.
That's a good
Time we have position coaches.
Same with White Cotton. Jets.
Yes,
they were
Jets
like,
were upset
"Come
about
on,
it.
man."
Yep.
Yes.
So lots to unpack there. We might go more in depth next week, or maybe if a caller asks about it on Adams and the offensive side of the football. But when we come back, give us a call, 888-855-2297. It's about time we talk to Cowboys Nation about what's happening with this coaching staff. Dial us right after this. If you're looking for fresh American roasted coffee that gives back, you need to head to your local grocery store and pick up a bag of Black Rifle coffee. That's right, America's coffee is now available in the coffee aisle of a grocery store near you. Black Rifle Coffee Company is veteran-founded with a mission to give back to those brave men and women who have served our nation. Every bag, box, or can you purchase helps support that mission. Head to your local grocery store and roast yourself some Black Rifle coffee today.
Todd thought it would be secure to jog in the cheetah savanna. Todd believed the big cat repellent he bought online was reliable. And now, Todd is trying to be faster than this cheetah that can run 80 miles per hour. But the good news is, Todd has AT&T 5G that is fast, reliable, and secure. And he learned the best thing to do is stop running and toss her the backpack with the beef stew. AT&T 5G. Fast, reliable, secure.
5G requires compatible plan and device. 5G may not be available in your area. See att.com/5G for you for details.
It's the official men's skincare brand of the Dallas Cowboys, Jack Black. And right now, Cowboys fans can get 15% off their $75 order. Plus, because every deal needs a playmaker, your order will include a free 5-piece skincare set and free shipping. The Jack Black Playmaker is 4 of Jack's favorites in a full-sized intense therapy lip balm. Make a play for the playmaker at getjackblack.com/Cowboys with the code Cowboys VIP. That's getjackblack.com/Cowboys with the code Cowboys VIP.
If you shout, "How about them Cowboys?" you have that undeniable passion that's the heart of Cowboys Nation. And if you like to drink Dr. Pepper, you love the unique blend of its 23 flavors. Together, your one-of-a-kind fandom paired with the one-of-a-kind taste of a delicious ice-cold Dr. Pepper is the game day lineup that can't be beat. Better yet, gather your Cowboys and Dr. Pepper fan friends to watch the next game and crack open a delicious ice-cold Dr. Pepper for everyone. The wins will be even tastier. It's a pepper thing.
Back to Talkin Cowboys.
Back here on Talking Cowboys, this portion of the show is brought to you by Quaker Oats, the official oatmeal sponsor of the Dallas Cowboys. Quaker Oats, trusted since 1877. We have a new setup in terms of the boxes that we're in. My hand goes straight into Josh's box, but it's right here, a little up and top, top and bottom. No, that's not even close. You're ridiculous. Buy your oats on the internet using the what, Josh?
The Quaker code in the left-hand corner. Golly.
That's not even...
I'm going to somewhere.
Yeah, whatever.
Holy
man. That's unbelievable.
I'm pulling that.
Really? Don't pull that, buddy.
For
evidence.
Save us, everybody. 888-855-2297. This is why the YouTube comments hate us. 888-855-2297.
And that's why we kick off your mornings.
It went right
on Talking Cowboys. Get that Black Rifle coffee. All right, Nebby, you're on Talking Cowboys. What's going on, Nebby Noseball?
Hi, guys. How are you? Thank you so much for taking my call. First of all, I want to start off by making a Super Bowl prediction. I think the Chiefs are going to become the first team during the Super Bowl era to win three championships in a row, and I believe the Chiefs are going to win 34 31. And second, I just want to make it abundantly clear that I am ecstatic that Will McClay signed a 5-year contract extension. And last but not least, do you think Brian Schottenheimer might be taking on too much, considering that he's going to call plays? Considering that this is his first chance to become this is his first chance at being a head coach in the National Football League. Take care. Thanks for being patient with me, and have a great week. Bye.
Thank you, Nebby.
Great stuff, Nebby, as always.
Thanks, bud.
I want to talk about that last point. Too much from Brian Schottenheimer's standpoint. It is his first shot to be a head coach. Mm-hmm. It 100% is, and everybody knows that by now. It's a pretty common theme around the criticism of hiring Schottenheimer, and even I thought the Jones family addressed that pretty well during the press conference. If you are given a one shot, a one opportunity to come in and snag a coaching job and
Mom spaghetti, man.
I was trying not to quote it, but I almost did all the way through 8 Mile. So, but when you bring in Schottenheimer and he's your head coach, wouldn't you want to do it on your terms? And if you feel confident enough to call plays, give it a shot. That's an easy fix, in my opinion.
Absolutely.
You go in, and let's say things don't go well. God forbid, something just doesn't click in the play calling aspect. The offense just doesn't look right. Things aren't really working out in your favor. That's an easy fix to say, you know what? I understand. I tried it. I did what I could. It's my first time as a head coach. Let's pass this on, and let's give it to Clayton Adams or whoever the offensive coordinator is at that time, and let's move it on down the line, and let's see who else can call plays. I think that's an easy selection. Why not try it early? Because if you're given one shot to be a head coach in the National Football League, as Nebby just outlined a moment ago, I think I would want to do it on my own terms, especially if I was already expecting to call plays somewhere else in the NFL.
No, I agree with you. First and foremost, let's try it my way. And then if it doesn't work my way, you just got to trust that coach has the willingness to be accountable and saying, you know what? Tried it my way, didn't work. Let's try it your way, and that's why it's key. That's why I love that you said Clayton Adams is your favorite of the hires, is because if they have to throw those keys to the offensive coordinator to call plays, I love that it's Clayton Adams that they be throwing the keys to.
Yeah, he's like, this time I'm going to stand up and shout. This time it's my way. My way or the highway, honestly.
We're just quoting music lines.
Yeah. No, I mean, come on, man. I think at this point, it's the modern NFL. He has to have a say in the play calling at this point. We've been dealing with it for a while now, and we saw how that turned out. Granted, it wasn't a great experiment on our part, but a lot of other teams do it. Give him a shot, dude.
I want to see what the lip biting was about. That's what I want to see. So keep in mind, during the press conference, Jerry Jones said something that stuck out. He said that there were times where Brian Schottenheimer was biting his lip because
under McCarthy's
play calling, because he didn't necessarily agree with whatever was happening at the time. So I want to see what that manifests.
I want to know when Mr. Jones knew about that.
Yeah, was it in the interview or was it in the time period?
Beard rub. But I want to see what the lip bite is about. So I mean that to say, show me what it was that McCarthy was doing that Schottenheimer didn't agree with, by way of showing me what you would prefer to do in certain situations. Yeah. So let's go.
Yeah, I think him listening to Usher definitely was
Ursher in this house, buddy.
My way. I think that's the way to do it. I do have one thing I wanted to get you guys' take on this. before we get to the next caller. What was y'all's thoughts on the comments? I know you can look into comments way too much.
Of course.
When it comes to these things. But at that press conference, he emphasized the amount of time that him and Dak were going to be spending together now that he's the head coach and no longer the offensive coordinator.
It felt like there were limitations placed.
Yeah.
So it was funny. Patrick and I were texting yesterday, not about football, not about wrestling, not about anything. We're talking about NASCAR.
Damn right.
Right? Talking about NASCAR. It's almost a Daytona 500. We're in the middle of February. You know what they do at Daytona because things are going a little too fast around there? They put a thing on the car called a restrictor plate. And you restrict how fast in the airflow of the car can go to keep everybody safe around you. For some reason, whenever that was in the thought process, and I know not every one of our listeners knows exactly what a restrictor plate is or what NASCAR even is at times. However, when I thought about it, I was like, that felt like there was a restriction placed on who could talk to who and where it could talk to anybody. I think all of that is gone. I think you've taken the restrictor plate off because in terms of the same kind of breath that happened in that press conference when they were talking about how much time they're going to spend together, there was a lot of emphasis on communication and relationships and people building and leadership building. And I don't know if that's always been the case in the past. There's a lot of X's and O's. There's a lot of business. I feel like now there's more of an emphasis on let's try and build something together as opposed to try and make these puzzle pieces fit together.
Well, the inevitable question, you called it a restrictor plate, right?
Yeah.
Should that have been on in the first place for a quarterback that you've had for, 7 seasons?
Not. As an offensive coordinator.
As an offensive coordinator as well.
No.
I mean,
that's why that stuck out.
That's what was weird about it.
That's kind of the root of the problem, I think. And at least
rooted.
The rooted. And who knows? Maybe that wasn't the right decision. Maybe it was the right decision at the time. But
disclaimer: we do not dislike Mike McCarthy on this show. I just want to let it.
No.
We were all very.
But that
we were all. Oh,
that was the one statement in the press conference that made me go. Arr? It just didn't.
For me,
pulled a Tim Allen.
Yeah, what was that?
It didn't sit right with me because I'm like. As an offensive coordinator, even though you weren't calling plays, I would assume that your number one responsibility, as your number one player responsibility, is your quarterback.
Always.
So if you weren't spending that time,
period,
in that role with your quarterback, why now would you have time to spend that much time with your quarterback?
I don't think it was lack of time. I think it was
when you have so many other people to be responsible for.
I really think it was. It ties back into, and my gut keeps circling back to that comment about lip biting. I think it was a situation where there was a difference in philosophy between McCarthy and Schottenheimer, and McCarthy, and he was well within his rights to do so as head coach and play caller, said, I don't want any potential miscommunication between what Dak is expected, what I'm expecting to see from Dak philosophy-wise versus what, Schottenheimer might be telling Dak. And not that Schottenheimer would have been trying to undermine, but it's just, if it was just basic conversations and meetings or whatnot, Schottenheimer might say A, whereas McCarthy is teaching B, and Dak's kind of in the middle of, okay, which do I go with here? And McCarthy being an old school ball coach and the head coach, he probably was like, listen, I want one message.
Yeah.
One message and one message only. And if you're not preaching that message, then don't talk to my quarterback.
You know your role. Shut your mouth.
Schottenheimer is much more of a
Is that the Rock?
Yeah.
Yeah, it is. But Schottenheimer does feel much more of that new age head coach collective. Let's everybody get on the same page. Let's get everybody's ideas on the table. Let's come to an agreement on what that should look like, and then let's communicate that message. Versus this is my message. Get on board. Which I feel like that was one of the reasons, and I did love Zimmer on the back end because he turned the defense around. But I think that was one of the disconnects with Zimmer and the pre-existing coaching staff that he came in to coach his assistants.
That's one of the reasons why you hired McCarthy in the first place, is because he had a culture, he had a mentality and a system and what he wanted.
And see, Schottenheimer doesn't have a head coach culture, so he's wide open as far as, okay, my culture is a collective. Yeah. Let's get everybody's ideas and let's establish it. Whereas Mike McCarthy was like, hey, I know what I'm doing. This is what we're going to do.
Yeah. It is different. It is a different
message.
Let's take our second break. When we come back, we got a couple callers. We're going to try and get to both of them. When we come back, right after this with more Talkin' Cowboys.
Todd thought it would be secure to jog in the cheetah savanna. Todd believed the big cat repellent he bought online was reliable. And now, Todd is trying to be faster than this cheetah that can run 80 miles per hour. But the good news is, Todd has AT&T 5G that is fast, reliable, and secure. And he learned the best thing to do is stop running and toss her the backpack with the beef stew. AT&T 5G. Fast, reliable, secure.
5G requires compatible plan and device. 5G may not be available in your area. See att.com/5G for you for details.
They say champions are remembered, but legends are never forgotten. United Ag and Turf offers a winning lineup of John Deere equipment built to tackle any challenge on and off the field. Legendary John Deere tractors, combines, residential mowers, commercial mowers, compact construction equipment, Gator utility vehicles, and a full line of golf and sports turf equipment. United Ag and Turf, the official Ag and Turf equipment supplier of the Dallas Cowboys. Visit UnitedAgAndTurf.com to find a location near you.
Hey y'all, Matt Pittman of Meat Church here. With football season kicking off, I'm already gearing up to bring the smoker back to AT&T Stadium for some epic tailgates. But with that Texas heat, it's crucial to keep my beer hand cramping cold. That's where Yeti's insulated Colster can cooler comes in clutch. This year, you can even get them with the iconic star engraved on the side. Licensed Yeti Cowboys gear is now available at Stadium Pro Shops, concessions, and on Yeti.com. Check it out today. Yeti, official cooler and drinkware of the Dallas Cowboys.
And we're going to overtime.
Erica, how much have I spent on concessions?
For questions about their money, Dallas Cowboys fans can turn to Erica, the virtual financial assistant in the Bank of America mobile banking app. Learn more at bankofamerica.com/Erica by your side. Bank of America, official bank of the Dallas Cowboys. Erica responses may vary. Digital tools featured require downloading the mobile banking app and may only be available on select mobile devices. Erica is a mobile feature only available in the English language. Your chat may be recorded and monitored for quality assurance. Message and data rates and additional terms may apply. Bank of America, N.A., member FDIC.
Back to Talkin Cowboys.
This segment is brought to you by Invisalign, the official smile of the Dallas Cowboys. Glad you're with us here on Talkin Cowboys. Presented by Black Rifle Coffee Company, the official copy of the Dallas Cowboys.
Well done.
That's pretty good.
Thanings. Let's go to
Justin Nicole. Wake up!
Let's go to Jim in Pasadena, California. Jim, you're on Talkin Cowboys.
Good morning, guys. How are you?
We're great. How are you?
I'm okay. Hey, Nosy, I want to thank you because you were in Oxnard in the summer, and you took time to take a picture with myself and my daughter.
Oh, awesome.
We'll never forget that, man.
I love
thank
the
you
love.
very much.
That's dope. I love the love. Thank
You can sell that on eBay for all of $3.
Well, I appreciate you valuing me at such a high amount.
The only bid was your mom. That's what it was.
What you say about my mama?
What's on your mind,
Let this
Jim?
man get his love off. Science, baby. Go for it, Jim.
All right. I'm going to say something that's not going to be popular with Cowboys Nation.
Okay.
All right.
About Luka?
I don't understand why we value Will McClay so much.
Oh.
Let me just explain. Hold on.
Oh.
In 23, hold on. The 23, the first and second round were busts. In 22, the second and third round, not so good. In 21, we might as well have said we didn't have a draft besides Parsons. And in 19, our highest pick was a bust. I'm not seeing it. I'm not seeing the value there, guys. Help me out.
Well, you just said besides Parsons. I think
so. In
the goalposts
5 years to draft one guy.
I don't know, man. I think you're moving.
There's a lot of Pro Bowlers on that roster because of Will McClay.
Tyler Smith. You got to take into account.
Yeah.
I think there are a lot of players that you're kind of moving the goalpost on.
Diggs,
but
Deron Bland.
But I agree with you that there are guys that he's missed on for sure, or that the organization has missed on.
That's the NFL draft in general.
Exactly.
Everyone's not going to be hit.
Yeah.
Well,
I think the way you started that too, when you said 23 and 24, I've been as critical as anybody whenever it comes to the 23 and 24 class. And I'm still on that bandwagon. Outside of your third-round picks that just both happen to be linebackers, I'm not impressed so far. Maris Leofold, Damarian Overshown from 24 and 23, respectively. Those are draft classes that have not hit yet. But the key word is yet. They're still on your roster for the most part. So we've seen some good things out of Schoonmaker. We've seen some good things out of Mozzie Smith. It depends on how they're able to get out of that. Right now, no, they haven't lived up to the expectation. Are they going to? Time will tell. But right now, I think it's tough to call both of them a draft bust across the way, where I think 2019, you could say that's a busted draft. 2020 was one of the best drafts you've had in a long time when you had CeeDee Lamb, Trayvon Diggs, Tyler Biadasz. Yeah. You had a number of guys there.
Totally agree with that.
That made a huge impact.
5 years ago.
It was 5 years ago, but you've hit in 22. Got Tyler Smith up front. Right. You've got 23. It happens along the way.
But
you think 22 is a hit?
There's a partnership here, though. Understand this. From upper management, right, in the scouting department, their role is to identify talent and bring talent in the building. Correct? Mm-hmm. What exchange happens from that point? Who's then now responsible? There's a thing called coaching. Right? So you can't just put all the responsibility on the scouting department. Like they are able to identify needs of your team, positional needs, and they are able to fill those needs with talented players. Now, once that exchange happens, they're now drafted. Their job is now done with those guys, right? They turn to guys that are now on other rosters. They turn to guys that are in other leagues. It's the coaches now their job to develop, which is a conversation that we have had on this show many times in terms of the responsibility of position coaches and why there needs to be more of an emphasis placed on position coaches, which is why we're excited about position coaches that are coming upon this roster because we understand how influential they are to the development of players. Just because you become a professional athlete does not stop your development in terms of growing and getting better. You come in as a collegiate player, you develop into a professional athlete. So you have to get handed off to a coach who's capable of developing you, which is why Linda Wells is huge.
Let me make this point by my observation.
Mm-hmm. Go for it. And then I'm coming in hot.
Nealon and BB from this year, if you look at film, when they lose, they're losing with great effort. They play like they want to be there. Mm-hmm. Where Mozzie Smith and Schoonmaker, there are times they play like they don't want any part of it. And I think there's a big difference between that.
Sure.
It gives me hope for the top three in 24, and it doesn't give me hope for Smith and Schoonmaker.
Okay, so let me say this, Jim. Number one, what Isaiah said stands out fantastically because it's a two-part equation. The scouts are tasked with finding the best talent with the highest ceiling. Once they do so, they get handed off to the coach. Now, this is why you see situations annually around the league where a player leaves a respective team and they go somewhere else and they thrive. Right? As a Cowboys fan, you know how that feels. Right? You know how that feels. So that goes to say that sometimes it's fit, it's scheme, it's coaching, whatever the case may be. But once the scout identifies the high-level talent, that their job is done. So, and I agree, and I said this on Twitter, is Will McClay perfect? Absolutely not. But batting average, his batting average is sensational. So for every Taco Charlton, right, you'll get Ezekiel Elliott.
For Taco?
Yeah, I mean Taco. Taco's a thing, right? We're not going to pretend Taco's not a thing. We're not going to pretend that Tristan.
No. I didn't know McClay was here during Taco years.
Yeah.
Yes. So let me remind you. McClay came in 2010, 2011. So that means Tyron Smith is McClay era. Zach Martin, Travis Frederick, DeMarco Murray, DeMarcus Lawrence, Zeke, Dak Prescott, Jordan Lewis, Tony Pollard, Chauncey Golston, Osa, Micah, CD, Trayvon, Deron Bland.
Yeah, I'm not a Chauncey Golston fan, but okay.
Chauncey saved
that was a byproduct of a lot of bad coaching decisions.
Before then, you would be
look at what he did as an edge rusher at Iowa.
Jim, you would be a Chauncey Golston fan. If the coaching, to Isaiah's point, had put him on edge and kept him on the edge prior to breaking glass in case of emergency last season. Yeah. So you saw Chauncey Golston come on and have a career season.
I disagree with that on Patrik. I think Chauncey is a defensive end's body that should be playing the defensive tackle, but he didn't have the body for it. I don't think he can redirect like a defensive end needs.
Well, let me ask you this, and I love this. Let me ask you this.
Do you think Myles Garrett and Micah Parsons are the same DN?
I was going to say,
do you think that Myles Garrett and Micah Parsons possess the same abilities as DN?
The same abilities? I think Myles Garrett has a little more power.
They're completely different defensive ends. Completely different characteristics.
Just like Myles and TJ.
Yeah.
Two different. Here's what I'll ask you, though. Do you think Tyrone Crawford was a 5 or a 3? Do you think he was an end or an end?
I think he was a tweener with a high motor and a competitive attitude.
Fair enough. So we'll agree on that. I think Chauncey Golston, I'm not saying Golston is a world beater. I'm saying that he could have been an impact player well before he was, which goes to the coaching aspect. But then if you fast forward, you have like the Tristan Hills of the world. You want to forget that. You want to forget
Nashon Wright.
Right. You want to forget you want to forget Nashon Wright.
Everybody has those,
right.
though.
But you coming forward, because I know people say, Tyron was more than a decade ago. Fine. Like you said, though, Cooper Beebe, Maris Leofow, DeMarvion Overshown is a Will McClay.
Let me ask this question.
Who's our interior D lineman that we got rid of that was playing in the playoffs just recently?
Ridgeway or?
No,
Phillips?
not Ridgeway. Not Phillips.
What are you talking about?
Rogers.
Interior?
Mm-hmm.
No, Rogers is with us now.
It's not
I don't know who
Dorrance.
you're talking about.
We're talking about
Flo.
He got hurt. He got hurt. He hurt his elbow in the preseason with us a couple years ago.
Gallimore.
Oh, Galley. Yeah.
Galley was
coaching.
Huge. Yeah,
Out to
he was
the
making
Rams.
huge contributions.
The 20 draft.
Huge contributions.
Impacted.
So
you're not going to hit on everything.
Yeah.
So we agree with that.
Jim, I want to ask you one more question. Out of the NFC, let's just keep it to the NFC. Who are the best best drafting teams in the NFC right now? Who would you put up there at the top?
I think Philly had a phenomenal.
Okay.
I think they hit a home run this last draft.
Philly is a great point, and I think they'll continue to grow into it. Let me add this: since 2020, that was the draft. That was the draft you just mentioned, 2020, and it was 5 years ago, right? Since 2020, the Cowboys have had different players named to 15 total Pro Bowls since 2020. The Philadelphia Eagles, out of their draft class, has only had 9.
Yeah.
So
let me offer you this.
Let's
Aren't
continue
a third
looking
of
at
the vote by the fans.
Sure, yeah. And then the All Pros, I think, would line up to it as well. I didn't count All Pros.
But also, here's some added context for you, Jim. Look at what Kyle is saying, and I'll concede to Pro Bowl having a third fan vote. 100% true. But All Pros are also in under Will McClay.
I don't think this is right. This says no All Pros for Philly at all since 2020. I don't think.
But let me add this: how many staff changes under Will McClay have you seen? Head coach, offensive coordinator, defensive coordinator, position coaches, and still the talent is coming in. Do you see what I'm saying? So again, we're not forgiving the Taco Charltons and the Tristan Hills.
And you're picking those players based upon what those coaching staffs want.
But what we're saying is, from a consistency standpoint, and as far as batting average goes and on base percentage goes for my baseball fans, and slugging percentage goes, Will McClay is arguably the best in the league.
Put it like this.
Okay.
Will McClay would have been the hottest free agent in football had he been allowed to hit the streets.
He not lying. He ain't lying.
He ain't lying.
No.
Let me leave you with this. I respect your opinion. I totally do.
Love it. Good
but
talk.
ultimately, I don't know, Jim.
All right. If we drafted better in the second round in the last 6 years, we wouldn't be complaining about spending the free agent.
I agree. We do agree.
And we've talked about that before, no doubt. Jim, thank you for the call. We appreciate the conversation. Really was a good conversation.
A dialogue. I love it.
Because that's the thing is a lot of people probably aren't on board all the time with our opinions and what we're bringing.
Of course not. Check our comments.
Have to be. Exactly. However, Will McClay, 100%, that needs to be talked about.
I like you.
And what he's
I like you, but you're crazy.
Jim, thanks for the call. Nebby, thanks for the call. We got to get out of here. We got the draft show coming up at 11 o'clock Central Time on the Draft Show YouTube and Draft Show Twitter, or Cowboys YouTube, Draft Show Twitter, so on and so forth. Be sure to subscribe because now we're going live on YouTube.
Yes, sir.
Every single episode.
Like and subscribe. We got to do our thumbnail.
There you go. All right. For Patrik Walker, Josh Rodriguez, Isaiah Stanback, for Chris Beam in the back, I'm Kyle Youmans saying so long from Talkin Cowboys. We will see you next week.
This has been a production of DallasCowboys.com and the Dallas Cowboys Football Club.
How about this, Cowboys?